Welcome to Everything But the Kitchen Dink, the podcast where we discuss all things pickleball with your hosts, Rob and Andy.
Welcome back to Everything But the Kitchen Dink.
Welcome back, everybody.
Now, I don't use this term lightly, and I've only used it in almost 100 episodes. I've only used it once or twice, but we have pickleball royalty with us today.
No.
Pickleball royalty. I mean, where do I even start with your rap sheet? It is so long. You're going to tell us all about it. You're going to help. You're going to change our games. We have with us today Dayne Gingrich. I hope I've said that right.
Perfect.
The co-author of Pickleball Mindset. And if you remember, we had Jill Martin, the other co-author, previously. And I hope it helped everybody. But now we have the master
pro pickleball player.
Everything. You're going to tell us everything.
Coach.
Going to change our lives. I've given you a nickname already.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Great Dane.
We've got there it is. Yeah, there it is. That's
we're
it.
big dog lovers, so that
Yeah.
It really is great to have you. Thank you so much. You really are sort of a pickleball star around the world.
I don't know about that. I mean, first off, like that introduction was crazy. I think we should write the second book, and I'll let go of Jill. I'll email her later. She gives me no love like that. I am beyond. Like the words don't even really express it. Like, and it almost sounds a little trite, but super humbled that you would. That intro is crazy to me because I don't think like that at all. I started playing pickleball, just having fun, and then saw this senior pro opportunity and did that, and then posted a couple mental game stuff and saw that kind of like go nuts, and just like that embarrasses me actually. Like, and I really appreciate it, but I don't see myself like that at all. I just try to add a little value.
Excited. We're excited to have you on.
It also makes a change from me embarrassing myself. At least I'm embarrassing somebody else.
That's good. But I really do appreciate it. And Jill has had nothing but amazing things to say about your show, your podcast. And so couldn't be more excited to be here. Yeah.
We appreciate that. And obviously the reason we do our show and the reason you're here today is that we're very passionate. We speak from the heart and we want to help other like-minded amateurs, which is exactly what you do. And you can't help us. We're beyond help. So it's all about everybody else out there.
But let's start at the beginning anyway. So first of all, Tell us about your sporting background before pickleball, and then what led you into actually playing pickleball.
Right. So I played tennis and basketball my entire life. I was, my dad put a tennis racket in my hand when I was, we were playing at 2. That we were playing in the basement. Like he would roll. First started with ping pong paddle, and he would roll tennis balls, and I would hit that off the ground. And he was an athlete. My mom was an athlete. And so it was just kind of naturally evolved. I played a lot of tennis and a lot of basketball and kind of grew up doing that at a pretty high level, and thought I was, always thought I was going to be, a Division I tennis or basketball. I really wanted to play basketball. Like I loved basketball more than tennis. I was better at tennis than basketball, but I was still like a mid-level type basketball player. But a big part of like my story too, and why I'd like to help young athletes coming up is all the mistakes I made when I was young and stupid. And I lost all scholarships. I didn't, I blew my grades. I just thought I was too cool for school and entitled, and I don't need grades, and I would get recruited anyways. SATs, I don't need to take SATs. They'll let me in. And so obviously that was wrong. And so I ended up at a junior college and didn't even want to play tennis. I wanted to play basketball because I thought, okay, I'll go to the JUCO for a year or two, and then I'll transfer over to UC Santa Barbara, where I wanted to play originally anyways. And had a first meeting with that basketball coach, and I was too cocky, and I said, "Don't you know who I am?" And we left, and he kicked me out of his office. And I said, "I guess I'll play tennis. I just might as well." But we had an insane tennis team. Like at this junior college here in Santa Barbara, everybody was a Division I player. Like for whatever reason, a couple guys dropped out, and they came, and so we rolled through state, and then again the arrogance and the entitlement and the cockiness. 1 year at JUCO, and I'm like, I'm going to turn pro. And that obviously didn't go well. And so I played like on a semi-pro level off and on, and had to start teaching and kind of grinding that way. And then pickleball showed up, and I can't even remember what year, maybe 2016. I played with my stepdad. He said, "Hey, we got this crazy game, pickleball." And first off, this is the stupidest name I've ever heard. Second off, like, the person that I am, he went to bed, and we were going to wake up. We had to wake up at like 6 a.m. to get there. At 1 a.m, I'm YouTubing this game, pickleball, and I watched it for 4 hours. I don't even think I slept more than an hour and a half before we played. I just needed to understand what this game was about. And so we went out and played with the 4-5-5-0 crowd immediately. And I played for 5-6 hours. Wow. I had one little water bottle, didn't stop. Like, there was no break. I was in a squatted position for 6 hours. I could not walk up and down a flight of stairs for 2 weeks. I swear to you, 2 weeks.
I can believe that.
And it was so amazing. It was so fun. But then I didn't touch a paddle for 2 years. Like, life just happened, and I was back teaching tennis and doing mental performance. And then 18 came and just started playing a little bit, and one thing led to another. In 2020 was my first year in a full senior pro, and then now here we are, right? And so it just kind of took over.
You must have, if you're going into senior pro, it must have. What was the process, or were you instantly that good? Or we know sort of 5-6 years ago, a bit more, there weren't as many people playing. Was it a lot easier to become pro then? Not that you weren't a great player, but was it was the path a lot easier?
I was really fortunate to come in probably a top 1 or 2 or 3 senior pro right away. I played a whole year prior in the young pro division as a 48-year-old, and I mean, not a full season, and it was so different then, right? You would play and you would get beat first round, but I had a really good win. I'm gonna say it out loud. I'm gonna text Matt Wright right now after this pod. Like, got a win over Matt Wright and Joey Farias, and just super lucky to be in. There were probably 20 top pros, really good, but it wasn't as deep as it was now. Right. So was just fortunate to be the game. The doubles aspect of doubles just felt exactly like my tennis days, my doubles tennis. I was way more of a doubles player and a specialist. So it felt easy to me on the pickleball court. And I was just very lucky to come in at a perfect time, played a full year, and then Dave Weinbach joined the next year, and we partnered up for 2.5 years. And now it's, I just wrote a post too. I don't think it's deep enough. I want the senior pro game to be even deeper. I want them to lower the age to 45.
Well, I saw that.
Yeah. 40. Yeah.
I want it to be 40. I want it to be, my crazy self wants it to be 40, because I believe it will be so difficult to find podiums. And I just love that challenge. I think when they do change it, because I think they will change it eventually, they'll change it to 45. Right. Okay. But I just want it to be, I want them to be deeper brackets. When we play on the West Coast, it's super, like, we're not all in the same area, like, very rarely, except for a couple tournaments. So it's thin. And if we lowered the age bracket, it would be, whether you're on the West or East Coast, every bracket would be incredible. There would be 0 free rounds. You would have to grind right from the get-go. That excites me to no end.
So are you saying you've gone as far as you can as a pro at your age?
No, I would never say. No, I don't like to say that. I have felt like I've really started getting more excited about my coaching, and Jill and our our book and our book tour clinics, and we're creating a ton of other opportunities too. So that's really exciting. So I had to kind of make a decision. For me to be on the senior pro tour and do well, like, it has to be full. Like, I have to train every day. I've been training literally 7 days a week in some form or fashion since 2018, like, every day. So
really? Wow.
I think it's time to just kind of hit the pause button for a little bit and see what happens with the game. Someone said bored. I'm not bored. Boredom is disrespectful to your opponents. They're like, nobody bores me. I think I'm tired of the training. I have some injuries, and I'm most importantly super excited about the coaching opportunities that are here.
Did you realize, was there a sort of switch that you realized I could play pro, or did you think straight away, yeah, this is for me, I can do that? Or was there something that just happened that made you think, yeah, it's time for me to play pro?
So I knew that I would be able to play senior pro immediately. I knew immediately, but the young pro, I wasn't in there for 2, 3, 4 years. Like I played a year, but it was so different. Like I didn't play a full season like the kids are coming at now and they're playing a full season. I knew that first year when I jumped on, it would just be a warm up for my senior pro. I had no illusion that I would be a top young pro. Right. And I just used that first year to travel and get used to it and play some really fun rec against the young kids and just dive into the senior pro. And then the senior pro for me was always going to be like a long-term way to help my coaching career and business later, right? Because I'm a really big believer in if you're talking all of this talk, and if you're like, I believe that I need to be able to walk the walk as well. So instead of just, hey, do this, do that, I also wanted to show you that I'm also doing everything that I'm talking about. And that was really, really important for me.
Okay. So the coaching element, that was also in your mind right from the start as well?
Right from, I've been coaching.
I think for coaching pickleball.
Yeah, I've been like, I don't know, you people talk about purebred entrepreneurs, right? Gary V's Gary Vaynerchuk's a purebred entrepreneur. Steve Jobs, these purebred. I believe like I'm a purebred coach. Like it's just been there. It's always been there. I've had a level of understanding of how people tick and how people work and how to kind of modify and adjust based on who's in front of me. I've always felt that. So I've felt like a coach way more than an athlete, actually, especially as I've gotten older. So the coaching piece was easy because I was already doing it for 20 plus years, right? 25 years. So pickleball coaching was super easy. I just didn't realize like how engaging the community would be. The community is incredible.
Yeah, it really is.
I posted something, I don't even remember what year, 2019, just some random post on Facebook about mental game, and people were crazy. Like they shared it and commented, and it was super refreshing and exciting at the same time.
So let's talk about the book. How did the idea come about for you and Jill to get together to write this?
I bullied her. She didn't want to do it. I said, listen, I am smarter than you. I'm a better writer than you. I'm the boss in this relationship. And no, I'm just kidding. That process, that process was a strange one. I knew her long before pickleball started, and she knew my wife way longer before I even met her. She helped my daughter in math class when I think my daughter was in third grade, maybe third or fourth grade. And so, my wife came home way before pickleball and said, hey, there's this woman named Jill Martin, and she really helped that daughter in math class, blah, 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 blah. And thought that's awesome. And then 2 years later, we're on the pickleball court. She's in a clinic and she does this full warrior pose, which is like on one leg and you're stretched out into the kitchen. And I said, I want that. I don't know what that is. I don't know what you just did, but like, I need to move like that. And she said, well, I teach yoga and I'm also a physical trainer. And I said, hey, and she said, I need a little help with my mental game too. Maybe we could work out a deal. So I started coaching her. She started training me. And then through a bunch of back and forth texts, because you had Jill on the show, she is not short of questions. She can ask questions. So as a former attorney, she's very good at question asking. So my phone was blowing up morning, noon, and night, with these questions about mental game. And then and she just randomly said one night, we have enough here to write a book. We should write a book. And I had been trying to write a book for 10 years and it just didn't work out. I wasn't inspired. It just never, and I, for some reason, didn't think it was a crazy idea. And I texted, let's do it. Like that. It was that simple. Brilliant. Not even knowing if it would happen, right? Not even realizing. Everybody talks. Let's do this. Let's do that. But Jill Martin, oh my Lord, did it take boom. All right, we're meeting tomorrow. We're going to talk. I'm going to record our sessions. We're going to interview. And then 2.5 years later, bingo.
Amazing.
So obviously you had an element, you knew your path really. You couldn't have imagined that the book was going to be what it is. And I'm assuming it's changed your life. Before we get on and actually talk about the book, how do you just take a step back and just think this is so surreal?
This is where I need to have Jill next to me right now. And I'm actually at her house. We just trained this morning and I'm literally at her place and she's back in the room. it is surreal. We talk about it all the time. No, we were hoping to literally just get some money back, like just not be in the hole. Like we just get what our investment was back. She was scared to death about people critiquing her story, right? If you've read the book, you know that she just laid all of her fears and doubts out in the book, and she was nervous that A, people would critique her and rip her apart. B, we would have we were hoping we'd sell 200 copies. If we sell 200 copies, that would just be because the data just clearly says a first-time author for an entire lifetime, you're not going to sell more than 300 books, like an entire lifetime. And so we were just yes, I'm pinching myself. I get goosebumps when we talk about it. Like the book has, and I always say, and I will say it till I die. The success of the book is due to Jill. Jill's part in the book. My part is we've all heard it bits and pieces, and yes, I think I have some good information, but I think it all comes together. She is our audience. People relate to her, and I think people gravitated towards her story to connect my concepts, right? And I'm just literally speechless. I rarely get speechless. How the book has literally changed our lives. We could never have thought.
I went to a tournament, and it was after we'd had Jill on the show, and somebody I knew came up to me and said, I listened to the podcast, it was great. I've read the book, and it's literally just changed my life. And it was wow, that's amazing. So
yeah, they said they read it over and over again.
They keep reading it and going back to it, and they said it's just been life-changing. So you're doing something right.
And also, and I'm sure we're not the only ones, we reference the book on our show every week, and I'm sure a lot of other people do. And it's just amazing. And if you're listening to this and you've not got it, it's so cheap. Just go out and buy it on Amazon, download it, read it.
You might put the price up after this.
And if you can't read, this is a great reason to learn to read. So,
and it's really funny because I hate reading. I've always hated reading, and I read my books on audio. I rarely, I had to sit down and read this, and she would send edits, and I would edit, and we would, and you got to read it again. I said, literally, if I read another chapter in this book, I'm going to kill myself. I can't. And so thank goodness the audiobook, we had to audition our own voices and our own reading styles for our book. And the audiobook is, and it's crazy too, because people would say I bought the book and the audiobook, which is just insane. It's so humbling. Because when you're in it, we were in it for so long, and so you just don't have any clarity. You can't know if it's any good. I thought it was good. I read her first chapter about her part, and I just knew it would be amazing, but you just don't know if people are going to resonate with it, and so it's pretty. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's hard for us to walk around the streets of Manchester without people recognizing love. I can imagine how tough it is for you.
I know. You and Denzel. Yeah. And Hugh Grant. You, Denzel, Hugh Grant. Doesn't Hugh live over there? You guys are the same.
Yeah.
Same
let's
showbiz.
talk about same showbiz. Yeah. Let's talk about the mental game, because
it's a big part of the book.
It's a big part of the book. It's something that we as players suffer with, and I'm sure many people listening suffer with the mental side of pickleball. It's such a big part of pickleball that we don't realize it, do we? So tell us a bit about how to help people with their sort of anxiety. For me, I'm just going to talk about me. I don't sleep before a tournament.
We'll get onto
it. But the mental game is such an important part of the game. How can you help people prioritize that?
Can I just add to that? Yeah. Sometimes I wonder if I'd have known how difficult my mental game was going to be. I wonder if I'd even start playing pickleball. As much as I love it, it has been torturous. And obviously, chapter 1 is about the mental game. So I'll let you answer those questions.
How can people prioritize that?
I think, first of all, the whole book's about the mental game. I think the whole, the first chapter, Stop Chasing the Win, right? I think this is one of our biggest challenges is the mental game can't really live to its potential if we're out there trying to focus on outcome, right? When we focus on that outcome and the podium and the gold, or even worse, and I think a lot of amateurs fall into this, and even some young pros that are trying to qualify into the bigger stage, like even worse than focusing on the win is focusing on trying not to lose. That piece just is death to performance, right? And so the mental game is really difficult to even explain, to put in a box, because it means so many different things for everybody. It's so different. I mean, I don't sleep before tournaments either. Like I'm up,
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. And I had to stop looking at the draw because the draws come out at midnight. I can't fall asleep before midnight, but if I'm up at midnight, then I look at the draw. And then if I look at the draw, then I have to go and then I start analyzing my opponents, right? Oh, if we get through the first round, I'm going to play this player. And then I just start going through all of the puzzle pieces. So, but if I don't look at the draw, then I'm in bed thinking about like looking at the draw, and I got to look at it's a complete, I'm a mess as well.
Okay.
Makes
me feel a bit better.
Do you text your partner the next day saying I'm not playing today?
You know what? I am a freak. My partners hate me in the morning because I will wake up. First off, I wake up super early because of the warm-up schedule I'm just a moron for I have to warm up in the hotel gym, wait like for 2.5 hours. Like I have to get up so early. So I'm up super early and I text my opponent immediately. Okay, we play this team. Okay, like we're gonna do this, and I know this about them, and what do you think about this? And they're not even awake yet. And I'm already texting game plans. It's a big nightmare.
Yeah.
I think the mental game, how do you even define it? It's really tough. It's like I should be able to define it, but for me it is first off, we have to reverse engineer what we want as individuals from this sport, from the future, what are our goals, like reverse engineering what you want to look like, who you want to become within this process, right? Because everybody's different. You have 4-0s that want to turn into 5-0s. You have 5-0s that want to turn into pros. So if I ask, if they come to me and they say, I have some mental game challenges, like we can't begin working on your car until I put it on the computer and we see what's weak, what's vulnerable, what needs to be worked on. So I need to first understand, like, what do you want to look like down the road, whether it's 6 months, a year, 3 years down the road? Like, who do you want to look like? Who do you want to feel like? Who do you want to become? What does that look like to you? What does it look like to your opponents when you walk on the court, when they see your name in the bracket? What do they think about you? What do they feel about you? Like, we need to, before we even tap
I know
into
what they think about us.
Yeah.
Here's another easy game.
Yeah, they think yes.
That's right. And so we need to challenge that, right? Like I would challenge you to like reverse that. And so before we tap into any micro details about flow state or breathing or visualization or being intentional or whatever the thing is, we have to create that mothership, that really detailed picture in our brain about where we're going and what we want to look like in the future. I think we jump into like, I focus on winning too much. Okay, let's not focus on winning. Let's focus on this stuff. But those are just band-aids to me, right? Creating an emotional connection to the picture of who I want to be in X amount of days, weeks, months, years, right? Like if we don't start there, the other stuff is pointless, right? And that's all I've been doing since I can remember, is creating that mental picture. And it can change, it can adjust, it can adapt. Without that mental picture, there is no waking up early, there is no training, there is no drilling, there are no tournaments, right? And so I think if we could just put you in if we could just frame that for you, I think that alone would create clarity in your own mental game. And really, instead of having it so vast, it's so bad. I have a weak mental game. I bet you don't. I bet you know it's not as weak as you think it is. I think there are parts that are vulnerable, but I think like if you two and I were working, right, we created that detailed picture of what it is that you want to look like and who you want to become, I think everything gets super easy. And then your answers become super clear on how to get there, right? I think that's the most important piece.
What about, when you say that, it makes sense, but I think part of our problem is our unrealistic expectations of who we want to be. and we have to manage that, and we don't really do a good job of managing our expectations.
But whose definition of unrealistic? See, this is a fun chapter for me too, and I'm not this is I've fought this like unrealistic. How? Like, are you talking about defying physics? You want to fly off of a roof? Are you talking about if you're a 4.0, you want to be you want to be a pro in a year? Like, or are you just like, because we have to define what unrealistic means and whose definition are you? So we start there, right? Like, I am not the guy who said 0 expectations. I'm not that guy. You think Kobe Bryant had 0 expectations? You think Roger Federer? You think Ben has no expectations? I mean, he dumped Colin for a reason, because of his expectations of what his career and his legacy, what he wants that to look like. So it's just about what those expectations are, and then getting to know you, right? Because we can't, there's no just like stock one size fits all program. Your expectations need to be this. I don't know anything about you as players. And so getting to kind of know you and what like unrealistic is and what too realistic, because if it's too realistic, it's too easy, it's not challenging, it's always got to be out of your reach a little bit. So we don't need it to be so far out of your reach that your brain just knows I'm never going to be a pro, dude. I'm a 3.5, right? But it needs to scare you enough to kind of wake you up into, because if it's too easy, then you'll be bored, right? But to figure out, this is the challenge. This is the art of coaching. This is what I love so much about it, is there's no two humans on the planet alike. Getting to know you and what is just out of your reach, right? If we can figure out what's just out of your reach, then we can create a game plan and then push you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. In chapter 2, we talk about sort of focus and concentration. Now, it's funny because I played in a tournament last week and I was in the final, and I'm in the middle of the game, and all I'm thinking about is I'm going to lift that trophy. I'm going to get that medal.
Yeah.
And this is while I'm playing. So how do we overcome that sort of our mind drifting during sort of important games?
People we see at the side of the court and things like,
Yeah, I mean, I think I read in the book where you say head down and just, focus. Eyes locked and focus. Is that the best thing we can do for that situation?
Well, that's a part of it. Like, that's the physical cue. That's a cue to so head down, eyes locked is the cue to make everybody else peripheral on a physical level. Like, I don't see anybody, I don't hear anybody, I just hear white noise. And like, for me personally, the only voice now that I hear is Jill. If she's there watching, she's the only person that I will allow into that conscious space, because she's so smart and she knows my game so well. She's the only person that I will listen for. If she has something to say, I'm gonna take it. Outside of that, it's just white noise. That's a cue to get in there. Now, the piece where you're focusing on the trophy and the winning and the podium, that's a long, that can't just happen when you're on the court. Hey, don't focus on the win. Like, it's a training process. Just like you can't read about push-ups, you have to do push-ups, right? You can't read about being unfocused or just being focused. You have to train what being focused means. So that, again, is a game plan of creating controllable intentions, like what's within your control. And I always like to start with my opponents instead of myself, like looking at my opponents and analyzing my opponents and figuring out what they like to do and what they don't like to do, and keep our brain on that, because every ball we hit is 100% based on what we know about them. And so when you can train that part of your brain, there is no space for, I hope I get to the podium, I can't lose, I have to win. Like, you can't do both at the same time. And so it's just training. It's just a muscle that we train to stay intentional about them, right? We say it in the clinic, every clinic we go, it's them, and we over prioritize them as a protection of not allowing our brain to go into the what if thing. And so, you can't do both. But again, I'm not a 60-second guy. Just do this in 60 seconds and you got it. I think that's a bunch of baloney. I think it's nonsense. This takes weeks. This takes months of training. You don't just, again, you go into a gym and you lift one day and you're like, yes, like you've got to work at it. But I mean, that's the easy answer. And the hard part is just the execution and the training of it, right? Because the default is, I hope I don't lose.
Yeah,
correct.
So when Robert talks about being on court and focusing, we've gone through the stage of sort of head down, focus, sort of don't show any emotion. And I don't know whether it was me, but that didn't work for me. And so head down focus, I struggle with that. And I like to sort of hit a shot and, let out a yelp and,
Yep.
But I don't know which is right. I like to.
So that's such an awesome question, even though you didn't ask them because I cut you off. I think, like, for the book and I think coaching in general, you lay a foundation, right? Because we can't just in every chapter say it depends on you, right? Because then there would be no book. So I think head down, eyes locked is something I use. It's something some athletes use, but it doesn't have to be where everybody uses. I think there is no right or wrong. I'm gonna say that again. The only wrong is doing something that doesn't connect with you because somebody else told you to do it. And so, you have Ben or you have Matt Wright, they hit a ball and they win a point and they look around. Like, that's great for them. I can't do that. I have to be down and locked. If you need to be up and looking around and you need to be, and I don't know that I don't know in the book that I say stay calm, stay unemotional, because I don't think that you need to stay unemotional. I think you need to rein in the negative emotion. But I love a fist pump. I love a stare down. I love a come on. Like, I'm as vocal as anybody, but that plays well for me. Some players, Jill, she has to be quiet. Like, Matt Wright has to scream and get in your face to play well. Julian Arnold with his andiamo, he has to play that. And then there's Ben. He has to do him. So I think the right answer is doing you at all times, right? Okay. And then if you can pick other things that help you, awesome. But if you don't like them, chuck them in the garbage.
Okay, makes a lot of sense.
Great advice.
Another big issue for a lot of pickleball players out there is spiraling. You hit a bad shot and then it gets in your head. You hit another bad shot. You look at your partner's eyes are rolling. And
we're really good at that.
Yeah, I think we're all good at that. Yeah.
And it becomes that spiral effect of, how do I get out of this? What do I do? Have you got any tips for people that happens to? Because I'm sure it happens to most people out there, and the way to get out of that.
And sometimes you feel like nothing you can do is going to change it.
Right. Yeah, I have nothing for that.
Well, I'm no worse off then.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. So I think there's a couple different ways. I think the cool thing about doubles is you do have somebody, so your partner. So there's the aspect of the partnership, right? So if my partner is spiraling, then it's my job to go love on him or her. Hey, we're good. It's no worries. Let's get back to the next point. Let's keep trying to do this, right? They're from somebody who used to eye roll a lot, who have really tamed that instinct. Like, I understand the power of eye rolling. Like, the negative is never going to help your partner ever, right? And so our job as a partner to help our partner not spiral is to go love on him or her and keep it super controllable and positive. For yourself, because remember that, Rob. For yourself, if you don't sometimes you have good partners that come over and love on you, and other times you don't. But still, even though I say that, I want my partner to come over and slap me on the butt or say whatever he says. It's still up to me to come out of it, right? And so again, this is like a training part where you learn how to. Tiger Woods had, he always talked about when he missed the shot, he would get so angry and he would want to break clubs, but he would give himself 10 steps to be angry. And on the 11th step, he told himself this point or this next shot. Right. And so the equivalent of that, I try to do that, the equivalent of that on the pickleball court. After a bad shot, I don't try not to be upset. I allow myself to slap my butt really hard or my leg to where it hurts with the paddle. And I give myself 2 seconds. And then I say, it doesn't mean everybody has to, but we need to get back on the next point. And so I say to myself, next point, and then I go to them, right? Because if you don't go to them, your brain is going to stay on you and why you suck and why you're upset and how you let your partner down. And I can't believe I missed the next third.
When you say go to them, you start thinking about them and the opposition again.
Yes. Or you can jump the net, go to them, and start a fight. You could do that. That would be
I've seen that.
No,
well.
Yes, we've seen that. Yeah. No, I mentally go to them, right?
Right,
So
okay.
that's a really strong cue to get my brain off of me and why I'm upset with me. So
That's good
number one, I'd let myself be upset for 2 seconds, slap, and I'll show that. And then I say, next point, and then I take my awareness to our game plan. Them. Remember, we got to return to her. We got to hit to him. We're going to dink. We're going to isolate him. And then I'll remind my partner, okay, remember, the game plan is. And then my brain can't be on my last shot anymore. It can't. It's literally not possible. It's only if we stay quiet and we just sit in defeat. And because our brain is programmed to protect us from pain. And so what it's going to tell us if we don't override it is, don't do that again. Because if you do that again, if you make that mistake again, you're going to feel more pain. But what it doesn't understand is when you tell yourself not to do that again,
you do it again.
You're just you do it again. And so you have to override this freaking thing upstairs and put it to something else and get it off your last mistake.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've tried picking a song to sing. We've tried the phrase, go back to basics, we used to say to each other.
But I think that's really good advice to start thinking about them again, your opponents, because you're right, you can't think about yourself then. You're thinking about the game plan and everything else. So it's really good advice.
So the challenge, I'm sorry, Andy, the challenge with the song, I'm not against it, but like humming a song or singing a song doesn't actually take your, like, because you can kind of do that on, like, you're driving, right? We're driving. I'm still driving and I can still sing a song. So I can still do both at the same time. Yeah. So if I'm on the court singing a song, I can still be pissed at myself, right? Yeah. So about the song, I don't think that's as powerful because your brain can still stay here. If you say, get it back to basics and fundamentals, you're still on yourself, right? And so your brain can still be mad at you if you're talking to you. So this point, next point, go to them. Your brain can't go to them and be mad at you. It can't. Yeah. So you have to again, it's training. Yeah. You have to tell it to go there, and you have to force it to go there, and you have to train it to go to them every point, every match. And so it becomes automatic eventually.
Okay. Well, maybe singing to myself, I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts was probably not the best song to pick anyway. But I'm a work in progress. Just going on from picking yourself up after a point, we've gone through a lot, and everybody has, and people always talk to us about it when you leave having had even a bad night of rec play and you want to give up, and how do you help yourself come back from a bad night or a really bad tournament? Yeah. You just didn't represent yourself well.
Yeah. So this actually, man, this is where I want Jill here too, because she's really helped me with this one. Like, all coaches need coaches. So when I lose, I want to break everything. I want to break my paddles. I want to break my water bottles. And before Jill was like coaching me in tournaments, I would do those things. I would break water bottles. I would break paddles, and it would be really hard to come back from it, right? And I would just stay angry all the time, and then I would get mad at myself for being mad. Like, and really good piece of advice that she gave me that I now help others. And I think I said it to others too, but I couldn't live it, right? Is it's okay to be mad. Just feel the feelings. Like, be okay with just be mad. And so first off, just let yourself be angry for a little bit. Let yourself be sad or be depressed or be pissed or lament in it, go have dinner, go to bed, but then decide when you wake up that something else has to take over, right? And so I think this again shoots back to who I want to become in 6 months. Who do I want to become? So now I have that created. And so I have to now choose, am I going to be mad because I played bad yesterday? Am I going to be pissed? Or am I going to try to turn into that dude, right? Because again, I can't do both. And that's where the power of why we start with that before any micro skill set is. Now when I'm angry or I'm pissed or I don't want to play, maybe you can take a day off. Number one, take a day off. It's fine, right? But if you can't, you had a bad tournament day and you got to play the next day, you can't be mad at yesterday and strive for that future goal that you created. You can't do both. And so that also helps you get out of it, because you must make a choice. You can't, you might choose to be mad, but then I can promise you're probably going to play like crap again. Yeah. Right? So again, this is just behavioral change. Yeah. Nothing happens if we don't change our behaviors. And again, like, the mindset is powerful. The mindset though is about helping you change behaviors, changing behavior patterns. If you have a pattern, I had a pattern when I would get mad, I would break things, I would cuss, I would not talk to girlfriends for a week. Like I was a maniac after losses. But the mental improvement helped change behavioral patterns that then created different results. So again, like I don't care if you're a 3-5 or a 7-5, creating that umbrella of who you want to become in the future and all the details aligned with it, that's your mothership when you're having a good day or a bad day or a day you don't want to play. Like we go to there. Because when we go there, like I'm going to say it again, when you go there, then you must make a conscious choice, right? Like you have it written on paper or on your laptop, you read it, you get to choose. Screw that guy, I'm going to be pissed off today, I hate the sport. Or, okay, I'm allowed to be mad, but now I'm going for that guy. Yeah. Right. And that decision you make is going to determine your next steps. I mean, that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I just wanted to add on that. Sorry for interrupting you. I don't know if this is unique to us, but you must coach people. We don't get to play as much as we'd like. We'd love to play every day. We only play twice a week, maybe 3 times if we're lucky. And that's, is that part of the issue where you can't just take a day off because you're taking a week off because you can't get caught till the following week? We don't have the facilities that, so do you have people who work busy lives and struggle with that because they can't just go and get it out the system in a couple of days?
Right. Yeah. I think that's the majority of people, right? I think that, and that's a really good question. I think it's just, again, it's just, first off, let's just go all the way back to like say again.
He's had 2 good questions. He can't have any more.
I'm winning 2-0.
That's it. 2-0. That's it. Love it. That's it. Rob, you're
sorry.
I think when, like with amateurs and they play in 2-3 times a week and they're not playing 6 to 7 days a week like a pro and training every day, all day, and it's about the sponsorship and it's about the money and it's about the legacy and all that stuff. Amateurs, I think, let's go back to the basics. Like, why did you start playing? You started playing because it was fun, right? And so I think we can lose perspective quite often as amateurs, right? And I always say shit rolls downhill, right? It rolls downhill from the pros where you see them all angry all the time and there's so much drama and there's so much negativity and blah. And then it kind of trickles down into the amateur level where now you have 3-5s and 4-0s acting grumpy and gossiping and they're angry all the time on the court and they had a bad day and they don't want to play again. Like, wait a minute. Like, let's just get back into the joy of why we're out there, right? And I think that is also
they just have fun.
Well, I hate when they say it's just a wiffle ball, have fun. And I hate that part. Like, why don't we say that about a soccer ball? Right? Just a soccer ball, have fun. Yeah. But I think having fun means different things for different people. For me, having fun is the scowl on my face, is the watching videos till 3 a.m, is the training, is getting my butt kicked by Jill every morning. Like, that to me is super fun. That isn't fun to her. That isn't fun to a lot of amateurs. A lot of amateurs, they want to hit and smile and giggle and play on the weekends. Like, so I think just knowing who you are and what brings joy to you, how you bring that fun onto the court. Again, that's also part of the mental game. The self-awareness piece, I think, comes before any physical piece. So yes, like I think the self-awareness is the answer to your question. Like, how can I get back on court and enjoy this sport, even though I had a terrible day yesterday? I only have another 1 or 2 days. Like, what does that answer look like to you?
Okay, really good, really interesting points. There's another issue that
this better be a good question.
I'm hoping
you're down nil.
I'm down 2-0 here, and I know Andy and I both suffer from this. And I had it last weekend when I played in this tournament. We end up playing within ourselves because we were afraid of hitting that serve out, hitting that forehand really hard just in case. And we end up just not playing our game because we're fearful of mistakes. How do we overcome that? Because I know it's a big thing for me and Andy. We both have it. Is there something we can do to help with that? Because I feel like I'm holding back almost. I'm not playing with my full potential.
Right.
I'm playing with fear.
Is it experience though? Is it lack of experience?
Is it lack of tournaments?
Is it because we're only playing twice a week? You know, we don't know.
Well, let me ask you, if you could play the way you wanted to play, what would that look like?
It'd be free, relaxed,
going for the shots, maybe.
and going and playing the shots that I know I can play,
right?
Without being fearful.
What would your opponents view you while you were doing that? How would they respond if you were playing freely and aggressively and moving and attacking a lot? Like, how would that affect them? What does that look like in there?
Well, it'd be hitting the net and going out, so they'd probably be quite happy.
Successfully, Andy. Successfully.
They'd be under pressure. You know, they'd be thinking, "Well, this guy's good." You know, I'm fearful of him.
So if we were training, right? If we were in a training, the first thing I would do is have you like embed all of those details into your subconscious, into your DNA. We would write about it. We would talk about it. You would give me specific examples, because Andy's living in the freaking nothing good is going to happen to me while I'm on this pickleball court. Like you're already setting up the stage
to me out.
Be bad. Like this is really awesome though. Like I feel like we're in a session now.
We are.
Awesome. We are. Congratulations.
This isn't even being broadcast.
Don't edit this. Dare edit this.
No chance.
So this is amazing, because you see how powerful, like, you've created this negative view. Like when you step on the pickleball court, all of these things are going to happen. You don't think about this. Like you're not negative because all these things have happened to you. These things have happened to you because you view the game through this negative lens. You're not good enough. It's always going to go out. You're never going to play within your, like, you're never going to play to the thing. Like you have now created this negative monster where you're just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you're just waiting to fail. And so you've programmed it on the negative side. So all we would do is do literally the same thing you've done with the negative. And we would just put in place all the things that you want to have happen. And what does that look like? What does that feel like? How does it make them feel? And we would just keep writing about it and talking about it. You would give me examples. In this moment, I'm going to hit this third here, and they're going to kind of feel the stress of that here. My partner's going to do this, and it's going to make us feel like this. And we would just live in that, because again, your brain can't be, I suck and I hope I don't miss. And I'm going to be really aggressive. I'm going to attack as much as I can. I'm going to put a ton of stress on my partner, on my opponent. My partner's going to come in and look to be aggressive. You can't do both. You have just never chosen the free side. You've wanted the freedom, but you're choosing the scared side. And so we just flip the script. Say again?
Sometimes you go in and you'll start that way, and then you'll hit 2 or 3 out, or you'll hit the net, and then you sort of go into your shell.
But you haven't, because you haven't trained it. Because you're a human. We all go in with like, I'm going to be successful. And then like Mike Tyson, when he said everybody has a plan until they get punched, right? Yeah. And so, like, I'm going to be successful. But you don't really truly believe, like, you're saying you want good things to happen to you. So you haven't really trained, I want those good things to happen. This is hopefully how it's going to look. But when it doesn't happen the way I have planned it, I am now prepared because I've trained this. And in the book, pre-acceptance, we pre-accept that I'm going to go in there with this plan. And you haven't really created a plan. You haven't. You wanted certain things to happen, but you haven't really trained your plan. And you definitely haven't worked on pre-acceptance where your plan, when it doesn't work, now what? Right? And so you go in wanting, and then when it doesn't happen, you get punched in the face. Then you go back into your, well, I told you so. See, I knew it. I knew it. You've trained the I knew it part, right? And so I think people are looking for easy buttons with the mental game, right? Like, just say this to yourself and you got it. Nope, it doesn't work that way. Like, it takes more work than the physical game, right?
It's which is why rewiring your brain, isn't it? In a way,
it's just rewiring your behavioral habits. 100%. You're just rewiring, because listen, the instinct, and I can already tell you guys are super funny and you're self-deprecating, and that feels good to be self-deprecating, but it's like, it doesn't work well on an athletic field. No. Self-deprecation is awesome on podcasts and when you guys are around friends and you're super funny because you're not, take yourself seriously, but like, you need to be the opposite when you walk on the court and be like, I'm here. Like, and that's just again, it's just training. You know what I mean? I can't
think
remember your freaking question now because I just rambled for a really
It
was a good
it was a
one,
good
though.
one. So I think we're on 2-1 now.
2-1. All right, we got it.
But I think the book goes on to talk about decision making under pressure, and I think this is 100% linked to pressure. And there's been times where I've pulled Robert up, and I've been great, and I've not felt the pressure, and vice versa. And but then there's times I know I've got to let it go. But there was a moment in the English Open just after we spoke to Jill, and we were 8-4 up. And for some reason, if we get to 8, 9, 10, I don't know what it is. It's like a switch. If I win a succession of points and I get to 10, it's like I never then go and get to 11 without it going back and forth. and obviously the pressure kicks in.
Yeah.
And then we lost that match 11-8.
Yeah.
And we probably had about 6 opportunities to serve it out. And we didn't go through to the knockout stages.
Is that when I threw my paddle at someone?
No, that was another time.
Good job, Rob.
Thank you.
We missed out by a point. And so those are the kinds of things where, and many, many times when we get to 10-4, and even I've been down at that level and come back and won. What is it about the pressure in those moments and the decision making that goes with it? Why we play a stupid shot at match point?
Yeah. Oh, so there's a couple things I want to unpack in this one. You guys might need to go get a pizza or something. You might order something. This could be like you guys leave and I'll still be talking. I promise. So there's a couple things. You're finding what you said. Every time I get to 9, 10, whatever, like I just can never pull it out. Like I know I'm never going to pull it out. So you just keep looking for evidence to support your narrative. That's all you're doing. You believe it's total self-sabotage, right? It's just a cliche psychology 101, self-sabotage. You're just looking for evidence to fit into your narrative. I know I'm going to get to 10 and then I'm not going to get, and I know I'm going to lose. So you're doing what you're asking yourself to do. You're doing what you believe you will do. That's the biggest issue, right? The other things that we'll get to here in a second are the micro fixes. But the biggest issue is you're just setting yourself up to lose. Like you said it, like when I get to 10, I can never get to 11. Like you've never won a game in your life ever. Of course you have, right?
Yeah.
You just label like that's nonsense. Now, could it be more or less? Either way, sure, but it's not every time. And you've set it up like this is a fact. I can't win when I get to 10. And so you're done. Like it's over. So we start by like crisscrossing that out and helping you realize that's a made up story, right? I know this is not Jill's podcast. You've had her on. I'm in her house, so I bring her up quite a bit. Like we do this with her weekly. You're making up a story. They will read your part. They will love your part. You will have partners. Your partners will love you. You are really good. You're way better than you think you are. Like your story that you're telling yourself is a lie. And so that's the first place is we just unpack that a little bit. Like when you get to 10, there's no fact that you can't get to 11 unless you say you can't get to 11. Right. And so we will like that would take a freaking week in itself. Let's back up to the micro things. You said pressure all the time. Like when I'm in those moments, and I think the greatest athletes in the world, and I write about it in the book quite a bit. There's an entire chapter. I don't use the word pressure ever because the way you talk about pressure is you label it as something negative. And so I use the word opportunity. Like I'm down 1-7. Let's freaking go. This is why I play. Let's make a run. Let's make a comeback. I'm up 10-6. Like let's finish. Like there is no pressure to close or pressure to win or pressure to not lose. There's only opportunity. This is why we play. Like this is literally the reason I step out on the court to play tournaments is for these moments. When you frame it that way, and I literally say this to partners, literally, this is why we play, bro. Like these moments are why we play. Let's go. You can't be scared and have that frame of mind. You cannot have that frame of mind and at the same time feel pressure and scared. You can be nervous, but you can't be scared. And so again, I've trained this I'm 150 years old. Like I've been doing this myself for a very long time. You all haven't really dove in and trained it. And so you don't know what you don't know. But I would start two things. Is you have to come to the conclusion in your brain that you made up the story that you can't get to 11. And you're just filling in, you're just looking, you're just picking, you're cherry picking it, like you're cherry picking pieces of evidence to support that narrative. That's a lie. That's total lie. You can get to 11. You have gotten to 11 many times before. Number one. Number two, when you're feeling that pressure as you described, let's lose the word pressure and substitute it with opportunity. This is why we play. Like, get excited for the opportunity, the moment, the stress of it. Like, they're nervous too. They're feeling it too. So if you can, and again, this isn't a like snap your fingers and you're just in it tomorrow when you play, but this is something that can be trained so that you do it one more time, you do it 4 more times, in 6 months you're doing it all the time, and then watch what happens to your actual physical performance when you put your frame, when you put your state of mind in that powerful, confident, let's go, this is why we play. Man, it's just talk about freeing yourself up, right? But again, you can't read about push-ups. You got to go do push-ups. You can't read. The book is awesome. I love you reading the book, but you got to go like apply what the book says. First thing is the book says there is no such thing as pressure. There's just not. Like, that's just made up. It's opportunity. It could be pressure. If you label it as pressure, then you're going to spiral. If you label it as opportunity, then you're going to thrive and you're going to feel completely different playing in that state of mind.
I think it's chapter 7, you talk about visualization. And I've been trying to put this into my practice now. But for the people listening, can you just explain what that means and how people can actually visualize the points, the game, and what the best way to do that is?
We've heard it so much as well. And I still don't really. I remember Jill said to us that you can actually go through visualize a whole match.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand the actual process. You know, am I supposed to sort of pretend to play out the shots in my mind?
Right. So I can play out a whole match now, but I couldn't in the beginning. I couldn't play out more than 2 points in the beginning. My mind would go somewhere else, or my brain would actually go to like visualizing misses. So yeah, like I've had again a ton of time with my self-development piece where I can do a whole match. But to like lay a foundation, it is now proven. It's not a Dayne woo-woo statement. It is proven that the brain does not know the difference between a strong, emotionally connected visualization and real life. That's just proven. They've done it multiple experiments with athletes who only visualized like free throws, for example. They only visualized free throws. They didn't shoot a single free throw for X amount of time. And then they had the other group of people, actually players, practicing free throws, right? And so then they went out and shot X amount of free throws, and the group of players that only visualized crushed the players that physically practice, right? So that study has been done in multiple sports with track athletes, and they've hooked up electrodes to their body and had them visualize, and their muscles are like firing as if they're sprinting for real. Like, so that's foundational. I think people think visualization is kind of woo-woo and doesn't really do anything. But it actually, your brain literally doesn't know the difference if you can learn to be like emotionally connected to it, right? And so I've had students like, I used to work with a lot of golfers. I've had students, well, you know, I remember one specifically break a pencil in her teeth. She was holding a pencil and was so into her visualization, what we were talking about, she snapped the pencil, like just was so into her golf shot. It's incredible. So how this works, and I would start with players that have never done it before, just super basic. And you close your eyes. It's probably the easiest. Go somewhere quiet, close your eyes, and just see yourself hitting a serve. That's it. Just start there. See yourself in your brain. You know, you're looking as if like a camera is watching you. You're not looking through your eyes. You're looking down on top of you. You're seeing your body, and just see if you can see yourself hitting a serve. Start there. If you can't, then we just keep working it, right? And just, can you see yourself holding your paddle, right? In your brain, can you just see? And so then you kind of progress. See yourself hitting a serve, and then see that player hitting the return back to you.
Okay.
And as you progress and you get more and more comfortable with that, then you play out another shot and then another shot. And then after a while, you're playing out an entire point. You're watching your partner hit. And I do it specifically, like, so again, I look at the draw and so I kind of know who I'm going to be playing. And so I will have literal pictures of my opponent's faces in my visual and playing the patterns that we want to set up to win points with the actual players on the other side, right? And so you can get as advanced as you want, but I think just training yourself to see one shot and then see two shots, it's really addictive, because what starts happening is you actually start seeing the results on court, the visualization after a little bit, not months, like after a week. If you visualize every other day, and it's only 5 minutes, you can do 5 minutes. Yeah. I do a half hour. You do 5 minutes, do 2 minutes, do 1 minute, do one shot. And you'll start seeing the results from them. I get addicted to the visuals because I know it's working. Right? And so the visualization is literally like drilling on the court, right?
And are you visualizing all scenarios, or are you just visualizing yourself winning to build that confidence? Or are you doing it for, good and bad? Are you visualizing hitting the net at times?
Never. No. So this is the great thing about visualization, is that people would argue that all the time. Hey, you got to visualize a miss because you're going to miss. Yeah, but the point, like, would you go on court and I'm going to drilling with your partner and purposely miss into the net? I'm just, I got to miss that dink into the net because I know I'm going to miss once in a while. You would never do that. And so visualization, we visualize perfection. We set our brains to perfection. Doesn't mean we're going to hit it, but I promise if you visualize missing, you're literally training yourself to miss. And so, right. And so, no, you visualize, and what you visualize is it's totally up to you. Do you want to visualize yourself serving, driving, crashing, being super aggressive like Alshon or Anna Lee? Or do you want to visualize yourself more in the soft game and hitting some resets and 55,000 dink rallies? Like that, the cool part is you get to see whatever part of your game you want to see.
Okay. Well, I've got another great question for you.
Did that help you, Andy? Did that help? You're
yeah, it did. I actually, you've made me actually for the first time actually understand what it is.
Yes.
Well done.
Yes, well done.
Well done.
You can retire now.
So on that note, hang on. On that note, I'm going to screenshot that. There we go. We got it. That's the moment in time.
But here's a great question.
You got another one. You're up 3.
You're already telling him it's a great question.
It is a great question. It doesn't matter what we're doing. We've known each other for what? 30 years.
Too long.
Yeah.
Too long, yeah.
Whatever we've done in the past together, we have been uber competitive. And sometimes I wonder if it's to our own detriment. Are we just too competitive? I've read all the stories about you've got to make mistakes in rep play. And, we do that and we keep saying, I'm going to hit a lot of serves in and that's fine. But then you're 6-1 down in rep play and it's like, shit, the problem is because I'm thinking, well, we're both thinking that, well, if we play like this in rep play, how are we going to play in a tournament? Right. But our competitiveness sometimes I feel is a real problem. And can one person be too competitive?
Yeah, so that is a really good question. You're up 4-1. Sorry, Rob.
I give up.
I like you.
See ya. Nice to see you.
but Rob, do you see his system, Rob? Like, number one, he asked 2 questions back to back. And number 2, he said it was going to be a good question before he asked the question.
Yeah, and I visualized these questions last night.
Visualize my answer. That's unbelievable. Yes. So can you be too competitive? I think it's just very situational. So if you're playing golf with your wife and you're losing your mind and being too competitive and you make your wife cry when she just wants to go have fun on the weekend, that's too competitive. Guess who did that? Yes, that was me. Yes. So in that situation, I think you're too competitive. On the pickleball court, then I would then ask, like, what are your goals? Are you a tournament player, or are you just a weekend hit and giggle player where you're just out having fun? Like, So you two are playing tournaments, right? And so because you're a tournament player, I would then substitute too competitive with too ego driven. Because if you're down 1-6 in rec and you then flip the switch to, oh, can't lose, gotta win, you've now stopped your training. You've literally stopped practice. You are no longer practicing. And your ego, that's not the competitiveness, as we like to say that because it feels better. But when I say your ego, that hurts a little bit. Your ego is out of control now. You're not in check of you haven't not checked your ego at the door. You're supposed to, in practice, when you choose that it's time to experiment and it's time to practice, it's okay to lose. And so you sit your ego over there and say, I'm not trying to lose, but I'm going to practice some shots that I'm not really great at so that in the future, when I am playing my tournaments, I will be better at them, right? Because if you're a tournament player, the goal is to play tournaments well. And the goal I would hope would be to play tournaments better than you did 4 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. And the only way that you can scaffold that improvement is by experimenting, risk-taking, and training shots you don't yet know how to hit. That's the idea of rec. Now, I will say this, because you're not playing 7 days a week, you have a limited time in rec. I would choose one game to where you full experiment, you only practice the shots, you don't care if you lose, and then depending on how much time you have, the next game is your gold medal tournament. And then you kind of bring in what we have. Maybe it's 2 games like that or 1 game. I don't care. You can do 1 game experiment, 1 game gold medal, 1 game experiment. Yeah. Totally up to you. What you'll notice happening is that in whether it's this day or tomorrow or in a week, what you used to be experimenting with is now starting to slide into your gold medal rec games. Like, oh, I'm a little better now. Oh, I'm hitting the shot in my gold medal rec match that I was hitting last week in my experimental rec match. And then it just keeps growing and growing. But that can never happen if at 1-6 you turn it off and you say, I'm going to win this game now. You've just disguised it. See, losing in rec doesn't mean, and Jill, I always bring Jill. I'm sorry. Sorry, Jill. Losing in rec doesn't mean you're going to lose in the tournament. Like they don't have anything to do. Right. And winning in rec too doesn't mean you're going to win.
The problem is every game in rec becomes a gold medal match.
That is it.
That's the problem.
That's the challenge. That is the problem. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Right? And so you guys play together. Do you guys play together most always then as partners?
Well, it's you mean in rec play
or in tournaments?
Yeah. Or in tournaments, I guess. In tournaments.
In tournaments we do. Rec play, it's always mixed up.
It's a mix. Right. Yeah. And the email you sent me about Andy's lack of skill, Rob, is I won't talk about that. So you get it. I'll call you later.
Yeah.
That email was from me about Andy's lack of skill.
Oh, my bad. I flipped it. Sorry, Andy. So what I like to do when I'm in that experimental phase is first just tell my partner, hey man, I just want to apologize for what might happen. Like I'm working on some stuff. Like I'm not going to miss on purpose, but I'm going to work on some stuff. So I just set the tone, right? And and then again, Jill would come and say, yeah, but the opponent's on the other side, like you're not making it fun for them. And so there's a whole like different amateur dynamic that maybe you tell the other guys too. And I'll do that once in a while too. Like, hey guys, like I'm going to work on some stuff. So, but that's again, why if you do it for 1 game, it's okay. The next game you go into gold medal match, right? And again, it's not too competitive. It's too ego driven.
Yeah. Okay. So following on from that, and ego and everything, we've said to each other so many times, why are you being so hard on yourself? And this is something
to each other. To each other.
I mean, because we have to constantly bring each other up when one is down, and we are way too harsh on ourselves when we hit the net or we hit something out or we make a bad decision where we go for a smash when it's below the net line, and we're constantly berating ourselves or going away at the end of the night.
I think you're worse than me when you
I think we've established that.
When you hit a bad shot, I can see your head goes down and you really spiral.
I feel like I've got better at it, but I guess it all comes from being too competitive and I don't know, but the self-criticism, and I think everybody is like that, and you need constantly somebody to say, why are you being so hard on yourself? It's pickleball. You're not going to get, and I say it to Robert as well. I say, you're not going to hit every shot, and then I'll go into a spiral.
Yeah.
You know, why are we like that?
Because you're human. Like, you're human. So I am not a big believer in having to change that. Like, I think you're allowed to be hard on yourself. I think some people are harder on themselves than others. Like, I can't not be hard on myself. I can't not be. I have to be. That kind of fires me up into the next play. And then there are people that can be too hard on themselves, and it can spiral them into another place. So there isn't a fix. Again, I would keep just doing you. So if you get upset, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think we get so upset at ourselves for getting upset at ourselves. And I think again, with the Tiger Woods, it's the 10 steps, right? In pickleball, it's the 2 seconds. You can be mad at yourself, but then maybe your partner needs to come up and love on you. Maybe you then need to be, give yourself 15 seconds to be mad at yourself and then get back into them. So I think you're like swinging at air, right? I just think you're throwing haymakers at something you're never going to hit by trying to change something that doesn't need to be changed. What needs to be maybe improved is your response after you get mad at yourself, so it's not bleeding into your next points. So I think be hard. If your thing is being hard on yourself, just be hard on yourself, but don't let it bleed into the next point. Get back to them, right? And if you're a little quiet, like, I've seen both phases of both sides of this. Like, I'm so hard on myself, and then there's the other where it's almost like no one gives a shit. Like, they don't care. Oh, whatever. It's just kind of do who you are, as long as you're lasered into this.
Yeah, I think we worry too much about too much sometimes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. We're worrying about every detail. Well, we don't need to.
We've got our own pressure, and then we've got the pressure to, because we're a partnership and we're friends, we've got that pressure as well.
It's a recipe for disaster.
We're going to get there. We'll get there in the end. It might kill us, but we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, you're friends with Robert. He's not. His email. He said again.
Correct. Yeah. I mean,
you may have to discuss.
Don't worry.
Yeah. We'll call you.
So,
but I think all of this is really sorry, Rob. I think all of this is just really fun, though. Like, I think instead of like we worry too much about too much. Like, how about, like, it's kind of fun to worry about? Like, let's just worry about it and let's just get to them. Like, all of your answers, you can do anything you want after a point. Anything you want, as long as you get to them before the next point starts. Yeah. Like, everybody does it differently. Yeah. But what the athletes that don't hit that next level of success, they get mad and they don't get to them. They stay mad. They stay frustrated. They stay worried. They stay on them. I can't believe I. Where the great ones go, damn it, and then they go right to them. They go to their game plan. They go to what needs to happen now. I mean, that's the secret of this, and the entire podcast here, the entire book. That's the secret.
Yeah. Right. You've been setting up some pickleball mindset clinics. Yeah. So, what does that involve?
It's not been as fun when Jill's there. Whenever I can get clinics without Jill, just kidding. This has been actually so fun. Jill and I have been traveling the country for, we did a few last year, and then we're going to do a whole this year and we're having people come to Santa Barbara as well. They're going to travel for 2 full days in intensive. This is really fun because, number one, we limit it to 8 players only per session. Okay. So we have a couple. Yeah, so we have a couple options, but we never go past 8 people, because I'm not a big believer in the 24, 32, 56, where it's just a big money grab and nobody gets anything. Like, there's no value in that. So the eight people only, it almost feels like a private lesson, because we can get super specific into every single player's challenges, right? And we have fun Q&As in between all ball pickups, and it's just very, very dynamic and very, everybody kind of like gets into each other's stories, and it's super intensive and fun. And so 8 people, and we break it up. Either we'll do 2 half days where we do 2 4.5 sessions, or we do an entire day, or we'll do, with those 8 people, we'll do 2 full days.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's
I'm on my way.
Come on, let's go. We're coming.
Are you going to move outside the US? Are you going to start doing them around the world?
Yeah, we are. Like, it's really funny you said that, because I didn't realize like my passport had expired, and Jill was like, "Dude, are you a freaking moron?" So yeah, I just redid my passport so we can go to Canada, and we're gonna go to Mexico, and we may go to the Cayman Islands, and so yeah, it's just been. Jill brings so much value to this, right?
Yeah.
She's not just a physical trainer. She's like a master pattern recognizer. And I didn't even know this until the very first clinic, where she warms up the group. She puts them through a dynamic warm up, a pickleball really specific. And then I come on and we start working strategy and start the day, and then she'll finish the day. But in the first clinic, she came on while I was coaching some whatever strategy we're doing. And she said, "Hey, can I intervene?" And I was, "No, you can't." No, just kidding. I didn't say that. But I did say, absolutely. And she gave this piece of advice that I didn't even see, that was masterful. And so on the fly, we readjusted the entire blueprint, where she joins in and she coaches pattern recognition specifically, in what she's seeing from players, because they're amateurs, right? We're not coaching Annalie and Ben, right? And so there's very obvious, when you're in it, it's really hard to see, right? Even when I'm playing, it's just really hard to see sometimes what's happening, what's not happening. And so Jill has added so much value in her. She's so smart, and she can just see things and change things. And she's such an amazing communicator that the clinics have turned into this incredible, and she brings the greatest part that I didn't see coming was she brings this amateur, just with the book, exactly like the book. She brings these lenses through the amateur. She answers the Q&A as an amateur. I answer them as a pro and a pro coach and a coach to amateurs, but she is the amateur living through the questions. Yeah. And so it's this beautiful kind of back and forth thing that we kind of discovered accidentally.
But it's interesting because you both look at it from a different way, and we're amateurs, but we are so obsessed with pickleball. It's gripped us, and so many people. Sometimes I think we've got an unhealthy obsession with pickleball. I mean, our wives don't want us to talk about it. We've been told when we go out with friends, you're not allowed to talk about pickleball. Is this an unhealthy obsession? We've never broadcast before, and we're approaching 100 episodes. I mean, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Is it unhealthy, or do we just embrace it and carry on?
I don't think it's unhealthy. I mean, it's unhealthy if you're doing crack in the back while during the show, you're doing heroin or something.
Believe me, I've had some matches where I've thought about it.
That might be unhealthy, but I think you found your thing. I think this is such a unique thing that pickleball brings. You just found your thing. You found your vibe. You found the thing that gives you, I mean, you can see it. Like, the energy on this podcast is just explosive because you really enjoy what you're doing. How can that be unhealthy?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to move on to something completely from the book and talk about something that I've been sort of focusing on quite a bit, which is the third shot drop versus the third shot hybrid or drive.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed now, and when we play especially, the balls that we use, you go for the third shot, it bounces quite high and it gets attacked. So what are your thoughts on this? I mean, do you think a third shot hybrid shot, like a drive sort of drop, is better?
Also, I think before you answer that, one of the issues here is that one of the issues.
See what he did? He hijacked your question.
He does it on every question.
No, I just want to add to it before I forget, because I know I'll forget, because I'm 53 now and I forget everything. The problem that we have is we're not tennis players. We've never come from a tennis background. So we spent so long trying to perfect the third shot drop. And then we realized that tennis players just put it away. And then everybody's driving. But what do we do? Because not every, we're not from a tennis background. So we're sort of confused what we do.
So I just did Kyle Kazuda, that pickleball guy, and I just did a video released, and we talked about this same exact topic. So again, I don't want to make this black and white, but I'm going to say it as if it's black and white, but I don't really mean it like it's binary.
Yeah.
I think in general, the drive or the dipper. So I think the heavy dipper, which is kind of like in between the drive and the hybrid, where the hybrid just kind of does this, where the dipper is more advanced, you get drops off a cliff. I think that's more effective than a third shot drop that doesn't have any dip. You can hit a good third shot drop if it has. Third shot drops are great if you can put topspin on them and make them kind of fall off a cliff, because that way it's not bouncing up and they're reaching in, and it's kind of like, and I believe if you're going to hit a third shot drop in today's game, having a dip that lands kind of like on their ankles instead of landing in the middle of the kitchen like we were taught back in the day. Because now when it lands in the middle of the kitchen, they just step back, let it come up,
and then just
boom.
attack it. Yeah,
that's right. So
yeah.
So if you are going to hit a third drop, I would make it more penetrating to where it literally is landing on their shins or their ankles, not the ground. That way they have to reach in and hit from below the net, which means they're not going to hurt you.
Yes.
Okay. It's not easy, but it's the answer.
Yeah.
And then I'm not a giant believer in the third drive with pace, because the third drive with pace means you're probably going to hit it higher and they're going to put it down on your feet. Right. And so I think that, and you're seeing it from the top all the way down to the amateur level, the third shot hybrid or kind of that drip or the heavy dipper is probably the most effective third. It's so funny. I think I just literally posted it this morning, that this exact topic, that the trajectory is way more important than power. I think you get a lot of amateurs coming out and they look at the pro game and how hard they hit, but they don't really understand that they're hitting hard, but they're hitting with a ton of spin and it's dipping a lot.
Yeah.
And so hitting your third shot drive doesn't have to be hit hard. It just needs to be hit low. And I think that'll keep you away from getting attacked all the time on your drops. Right.
Okay.
And the paddles are going to get better and better and better and better.
I was going to talk to you about paddles because I can see you've got Yola plastered all over you. So I take it you're sponsored by Yola.
Yes, I love my Yola.
Have you got your hands on the new Pro 4 or the Agassi?
Pro 4 is so like the mod. I still have. I like July 1st. You can't play with it, but like that paddle is a tennis racket. Is the best paddle I've ever played. The Pro 4 is so good. This Pro 4, and I have the 14 millimeter.
Okay.
It doesn't have the same exact power as the mod, but it has more feel and touch. So it's not the challenge with a lot of players with the mod is sometimes it would trampoline, like you couldn't always control it, right? But the Pro 4 still has this amazing level of power, but it has this crazy feel. So I love the Pro 4. It is. I mean,
have you tried the Agassi?
Say again?
Have you tried the Agassi one yet?
I have not hit Andre's paddle yet. I've heard good things about that too. Like the whole line, this whole new line. Right? Yeah, it's the Pro 4 series, the Agassi and the Graph, and then you have the Perseus, Ben, you have the Scorpius, Colin, you have Anabrites, and I think you have Tyson's too. Like they're all a little different. You get to pick and choose kind of what you like. But Yola, I've always Yola. People were so worried, like, oh, they're gonna go out in the mod and all the paddles. I said, dude, Yola is such a different company. You're gonna be fine. They got this new paddle. It's going to be good. You have top pros playing with it, so you can't produce a crappy paddle when you have that many top pros playing. So, I mean, by far, it's my favorite paddle that I've hit.
Okay, well, I'm going to use this as a little intervention. Because he has a paddle addiction and changes his paddle probably 3 or 4 times a night. Buys every new paddle.
Rob does? Yeah. Good for you.
He buys every new paddle. He's had the mod TA. He's had everyone that's been out and he's sold it. I assume that's never going to change.
With him? Oh, it's never going to change with him. That's great.
No,
we
I
love
love.
it.
But
I like
sometimes
paddles.
it gets in his head, and then
Yeah.
things are not going your way. It's
Yeah,
like you start
blaming the
looking at the
paddle.
paddle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Look,
blaming the paddle.
I've been playing with the Gearbox Ultimate at the moment. I really like
Okay.
that. And
Okay.
I normally, if I go to a tournament, I'll have 2 paddles, probably my Selkirk Power Air and
12 in the car.
and if I'm not feeling it with one, I'll pull the other one out. I don't see it as a big deal, to be honest.
But
So
when
remember when you asked me about the unhealthy thing?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That might be a little unhealthy.
I mean,
No,
if his
I'm
wife
kidding.
knew how much he was spending on paddles.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, we've got a tournament this weekend, and I've been getting a lot of messages from Robert saying, this one doesn't do tournaments anymore. I'm not doing tournaments anymore. I don't sleep. I feel terrible. I play within myself, and I'm done with tournaments, and I'm just going to enjoy rock play. And
Wait, Robert said that, or
Yeah.
you said that?
No,
that used to be me. We've switched roles.
Oh.
The
now.
thing is, I
God.
love playing tournaments, but they don't love me. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like because I don't sleep the night before, I'm playing on empty. I'm not playing my best because I'm tired, and I just fell out of love with it because I feel, why am I putting myself through this? Even though I do enjoy the, getting through and the semi and the final and playing in tournaments, I feel like sometimes I'm playing and I'm thinking, why do I put myself through this?
Right.
Well, also we both
It's like
go
a
on.
love-hate.
We
really.
both go on, and for me, it takes us a couple of games to get warmed up. By which point we could be out the tournament.
Yeah.
I go on and I'm very excited. I don't feel nervous. I go on and my whole body starts tingling. I
When
feel
you
like
go
I
on,
have
that's the adrenaline. Yeah.
and then it's a couple of games before that's gone.
Yep.
Is it always going to be like that? Can we prepare differently?
Yeah, we just don't play tournaments.
Yeah.
But
I mean, again, I would challenge. Well, look how nervous you are. So Joe walk through and
Mic
flash
over.
the mic. So I think if we unpacked it, like, are you losing sleep because you're worried about losing? Are you focused too much on the win? Are you worried about trying not to embarrass yourself? Like, is it all the outcome thing? Are you nauseous or is it competing in front of people, not wanting to lose 0-2 and go home? Like, what are they going to say? Like, I think unpacking why you're
I don't think we know.
Yeah,
nervous or scared.
Yeah.
You don't think you know? You don't think you
Yeah.
know? Well, that would be something to ask yourself and to write about. Like, be super honest. Like, because you do know. You do know. You just never asked yourself the question. You're just taking, I'm really nervous. I'm really scared. I don't sleep. I get tingly. It only takes me 2 games, and you're taking that, and you're just like putting a period at the end of the sentence instead of like the why. Why do you feel that way? And then really be honest. There is no wrong answer. I feel too much stress to have to win. I have expectations. People think, like, whatever the thing is, I don't want to embarrass whatever the thing is, like, get to that. Or like, I'm so pumped. I can't sleep because I'm so pumped because I love to compete. And I just want to go and I practice so hard. And like, whatever the thing is, I think you need to ask why first. And then, like, will it ever go away? I don't know. Like, I think
I'm worrying about Duper and like,
well, that's an issue. There it is.
Well, I had in the last episode, which actually isn't released yet, I've had my annual Duper rant. And then I noticed on Facebook you had one as well. So that was, if I couldn't love you anymore.
Because I feel that I feel with Duper, it's like, if my rating's not high enough, people are not going to respect me. I'm going to be able to enter this tournament at that level.
No one respects you.
It's a whole issue. It's not done correctly. There's no age. We played some kids the other week in a tournament. It was open age.
I got pickled, but I'm going to put myself through that because I want to get better. Yet my Duper, it's reflected on my Duper. I played with a 69-year-old against 2 teens who hit the ball at 3,000 miles an hour because I returned it a millimeter too short.
Our Duper putting pressure on players, really.
Right. That's right. I'm definitely not going to ever be sponsored by Duper, I have a feeling, because I go pretty hard at them for sure. I don't think they're going to be right here. I can promise you that on my shirt.
Yeah.
So that's just code for I'm trying not to lose. All that's code for. You put Duper in there. I'm trying not to screw up my Dupers. is equivalent to I'm trying not to lose. So here's the thing though, and especially if you've read the book, you have zero, like duper is not going away. It might get better, it might get like maybe it gets replaced, doubt it, but it is kind of what it is. So then I think the decision you make is, do I love tournaments? If the answer is I love tournaments, then we just start kind of picking away at the mindset on, I'm trying not to lose mindset. And that's not easy at all. And yeah, we have some facts, like you said, duper. I mean, we can go on and on about examples of Dave Weinbach and I won for 3 years in a row. Didn't look like we lost one match and our duper dropped. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And on and on and on. So you get to choose, because duper's not leaving. So you get to handle, like you get to make the decision. If I'm going to play though, like you don't have to play, but if I'm going to play, duper has nothing to do with how I'm going to play. And then it's a matter of like just training yourself around it. It's like you got this big old freaking rock in the middle of the court and the rock's not going anywhere. So you got to learn how to like strategically hit around it and move around it, move behind it and lob over it. It's not going anywhere. So then you make, like, if I get really in the weeds, then we really challenge you to play through, like play in the face of it, like to flip the birds to it. And like, instead of being the victim of it, because that's what we are when you're talking like that, I'm going to freaking, because you're not going to break it. So you're not going to chisel. So you have to play in the face of it and kind of flip it the bird. And I'm going to do it anyways. And like, whatever happens, happens. Like that again is a different state of like emotional connection you make to like an uncontrollable. You do get to choose though. You don't have to play. But I would say if you're going to play, then you freaking punch it in its face. And then you're like, no, you're not going to affect me today. Because you both said you're really competitive. So then tap into that competitive side. Like, you're not breaking me today. Like, this is, nope, I'm mentally tougher than you. If I lose, whatever. If I win, whatever. But I'm freaking going. And you're not going to affect how I play. Like, that just kind of train that. And it's not something you say. You start with saying it, but it's like who you become. Like, it starts with the words, but then it's like, it's not just a note you wrote and stuck under the mirror. I'm never going to break. Duper will no. Like, you say it, but then you be it. And when you start thinking about it in the middle of your match, when you're down 1-4, because you will be like, nope. And then you reframe it and you say, nope, it's not. And let's stay aggressive.
Well, you're thinking about during a match, you're thinking about how's it affecting my duper.
So you challenge yourself. Because you're going to think that way. You're still going to think that way here and there. But your job isn't to like totally eliminate it. Your job is to recognize it and then come back and throw another punch at it. And Andy, let's go. Like, let's stay aggressive. Like, and you don't even mention it. You don't mention it to Andy. Like, hey, I'm thinking about my duper. Oh my gosh. You just go, you say it to yourself. Andy, let's go. And you just kind of keep creating that. It's a challenge, man. You can't let a freaking outside uncontrollable.
You're right. You're right. Well,
whoa. Say that again. I'm right. I'm going to do this for everybody.
You are right.
You're right.
So obviously, as you know, it's been over an hour and a half now, and you know that we are such a perfect partnership. But for any partnerships out there, what's the best advice you can give them to help the partnership and be good partners to each other?
There's so many. It's really funny you said that, because guess what book number 2 is about?
Oh, really?
Right.
Yes.
Can we get
being written
a
pre?
Yes.
We are the number 2 book that's being written right now is on partnerships.
Wow.
That is the number one question we get in some form or fashion at every clinic, every podcast. Partnerships. There's so many things to talk about, but I would say number 1, without getting too much in the weeds, like communicate pre-match. This is how I want to be talked to. This is something Jill has just beaten into me and beaten into our clinics. Like, because I kind of take for granted, like I don't need to like my partner. I need to respect you. We need to play well. We don't need to have lunch. But it's a little different with the amateur level, right? You need to like each other. Probably need to like each other. Definitely need to respect each other. And it would be kind of cool if you went to lunch and dinner and kind of hung out, right? And so before the match starts, I would create a ritual of like talking about how you two want to be communicated with. Like, I don't want to be talked to a whole lot. I need to be talked to a lot. I don't want to talk about strategy a whole lot. I need to talk to, like, just so you kind of gain like some common ground and you understand one another going in rather than trying to figure out on the fly. And then I think the number one, like one of the biggest pieces is just give each other grace. Your partner's not trying to miss. You're not trying to miss. Give each other grace and keep loving on one another.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong if you just keep loving on each other, keep high-fiving each other, keep asking, are you good? What do you need from me? Are you good? What do you need from me? Like, just make it literally as if it's your off-court relationship, marriage, etc. Right? Like, doesn't mean you're going to win, but definitely means you're going to have a better time within the process.
Amazing. So when
what you said about Andy, Rob, about how his partnership, his skills, his physical skills, you said
that was between me and you, Dave.
Yeah, I know. I didn't give it away. I just kind of hinted, and then you guys can fight about it later.
So when will the book be out?
Well, we don't have a release date yet. Okay. Jill would kill me if I said it'll definitely be out by this time. We're in the process. I think it'll be faster than the last one. The last one took like over a year and a half. We knew each other for two years, but it was over. It's going to be a lot quicker this time because we kind of know how to do it now. Yeah. But partnerships, it's such a good topic to write about.
Well, if you need a chapter on how not to do it, I'm not going to charge you to use our names. It's fine.
I'm sure we'll interview you. We're going to interview a lot of partners, and we're going to interview people about partnerships and what they think. It's not going to just be through our eyeballs only. We're going to get and gather information from the amateur land. So I'm sure we'll be coming to you.
And
Rob,
any trip to
sure
the
we'll
UK
be coming
plan?
to you, Rob.
Thank you.
Any trips to the UK planned?
No, but let's do it. I mean, let's go.
Absolutely.
Now that I have my passport all up to date here in a weeks, like we would love to come out there. I think there's some opportunity out there, don't you?
Well, you must.
100%.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Well, all I can say is, you know what? This has been an absolute pleasure to have you on because I could talk to you for hours. I literally feel like
I'm actually going for a drilling session in about half an hour.
I feel like we're almost family, like
I feel like it.
I could talk for hours. It's just been so good to listen to your wisdom and your advice. And I hope people that are listening to this podcast have really got something out of this. And if they haven't read the book, they need to go and get it. It's Pickleball Mindset. It's a fantastic book. And where can they get it? Tell us where they can get it.
Well, they can get it on Amazon straight off of Amazon. Okay. Right. Yeah.
So,
and how can people get in touch with you if they want to?
So Jill and I just launched our website, pbmindset.com. And so you can go there to get the book. You can go there to schedule clinics. You can go there for all of the other programs that we're starting to create. So pbmindset.com. That's awesome. You guys have been freaking amazing.
Well, that was amazing, wasn't it?
It was just unbelievable. And I hope it helps everybody like it's going to help us.
Yeah, I mean, inspirational.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah,
what a great guy.
Yeah,
and thank you to him for coming on.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Thanks
for listening.
And that was our 100th episode.
It was. And before we go,
we've got
tell everybody about the prize and just explain it in detail.
Okay, so for our 100th episode, which is this one, we're doing an amazing giveaway of over £500 worth of pickleball equipment. All you have to do to win is like the post that's flying around on Instagram and Facebook.
And it will be on TikTok as well.
Yeah. Follow our page, tag 3 friends in the comments. And if you share the post to your story and tag us, you get an extra entry. So that's not bad, is it?
That's good.
Yeah. Entries close on the 30th of May. And we will be doing the winner, but that'll be announced on the 1st of June.
Okay.
So plenty of time to do it. Get it done. We've got an Engage paddle, a Hush paddle, some balls, some brand new trainers, caps, T-shirts, maybe. Any T-shirts? We might have a T-shirt.
Yeah, we might have a T-shirt. We might have a hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might have a paddle that Robert's bought since and he's giving away.
Yeah. We've got a load of stuff. So don't forget to like, subscribe.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening.
Just to say again that if you are not sure how to enter this, we will put a post on all our socials. So that's TikTok, Facebook, and what was the other one?
Instagram. And a big thank you to our sponsors, the UK Pickleball Shop, as well, for keeping us current.
Thank you very much. Here's to another 100.
Wow. Take care, everybody.
Have a great week.